Urgent Dallas Cowboys fans. Do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because here, we bring you daily videos with the latest Dallas Cowboys updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Alright, folks, let's settle in and talk about something that's been buzzing around the NFL circles lately, especially among Cowboys fans who love to keep a close eye on roster moves, player developments, and how the team is shaping up for what promises to be another exciting season. Now, I know there's a lot of excitement about the Cowboys' prospects in 2024, but today I want to shed some light on a developing story that could have serious implications, not just for the Dallas Cowboys, but also for one of their new additions, Javonte Williams. You see, it's not uncommon in the NFL for players to arrive with high hopes, only to find themselves on the chopping block sooner than expected. And that's precisely the case with Williams, who, despite signing with Dallas just a few months ago, might already be fighting for his spot on the roster. Let's rewind a bit and look at the background. Javonte Williams, the talented running back out of North Carolina, was drafted by the Denver Broncos in the second round of the 2021 NFL Draft. At the time, many analysts saw him as a potential star in the making, a versatile, powerful back with the ability to break tackles, make explosive plays, and become a cornerstone of Denver's offense. His rookie season certainly showed promise. Williams rushed for over 900 yards and scored multiple touchdowns, quickly earning the respect of fans and coaches alike. But then, disaster struck in 2022. During a game, he suffered a severe knee injury, one of those injuries that can change the course of a player's career. And, unfortunately, that injury ended his season prematurely. Since then, things haven't exactly gone as planned for Williams. Over the next 2 seasons, his production dipped significantly. His yards per carry fell below 4 yards, which is a red flag for any running back trying to establish himself as a reliable feature back. The injury seemed to have taken a toll, and the Broncos, perhaps feeling the pressure to rebuild their roster, made some tough decisions. They let Williams go in the offseason, and it was a bit of a surprise to many. But the Cowboys, always on the lookout for talent, swooped in and signed him to a 1-year deal. A gamble, perhaps, but one that could pay off if Williams returns to form. However, here's where things get really interesting. Despite the excitement of his signing, rumors and expert opinions suggest that Williams might be on the bubble, yes, even in Dallas. Christopher Knox from Bleacher Report recently raised some eyebrows with his analysis, suggesting that Williams might already be at risk of being cut this offseason. The reasoning? Well, it boils down to roster competition and the current depth chart. You see, the Cowboys already have a solid group of running backs, including Tony Pollard, who's the clear lead back, along with promising backups like Malik Davis, Deuce Vaughn, and some younger players like Rico Dowdle. But the real issue is whether Williams can outperform the other backs vying for a spot. Knox pointed out that Williams might struggle to beat out guys like Ronald Blue, a young player with a lot of potential, or some of the newer additions like Maffa, who has shown flashes of explosiveness. If the Cowboys decide to keep 3 running backs, it's possible that Williams could be the odd man out, especially if he doesn't quickly demonstrate the form that made him a second-round pick just a couple of years ago. It's a tough reality for a player who once looked like a franchise cornerstone, but NFL roster spots are as competitive as ever, and the margins for error are razor thin. But let's not forget, this is the NFL, things can change rapidly. Sometimes, a player's situation looks bleak, and then suddenly, they find a way to turn things around. The Cowboys are known for their thorough evaluation process, and they're always balancing the need for veteran experience with youth and potential. So, while the current reports suggest Williams might be fighting an uphill battle, nothing is set in stone. Maybe he'll impress in training camp, show that he's fully recovered from his injury, and earn a spot on the final roster. Or maybe the team will decide to go in a different direction, especially if they see more promise in other backs on the roster or in the draft. And speaking of the draft, this offseason was quite revealing for the Dallas Cowboys in terms of their approach to building the team. They've been aggressive in addressing needs across the board, investing in the offensive line, bolstering the secondary, and adding depth at linebacker. The running back position, however, remains one of the most intriguing areas. Tony Pollard's injury history last season made it clear that Dallas needs to have a solid backup plan, and they've been exploring different options, including bringing in free agents and drafting young talent. That's why the story of Javonte Williams is such a compelling subplot for Cowboys fans. Here's a guy with a lot of talent, but also some question marks, fighting for a spot on a team that is very competitive. And it's not just about roster spots. There's a bigger story about how the Cowboys are managing their cap space, their draft capital, and their strategy for maintaining a roster that can contend deep into January. The NFL is a business, and decisions are often driven by numbers, potential, and how well players fit into the team's long-term vision. For Williams, if he doesn't impress early on, he could be a prime candidate for a release, freeing up space and resources for other players. But if he shows flashes of his former self, if he can stay healthy and adapt to the Cowboys system, he might just carve out a meaningful role. Now, let's shift gears a little and talk about the bigger picture. The Cowboys, with their storied history, are always under the spotlight. Expectations are high every season, especially after making the playoffs last year and showing resilience. The offense has some key pieces, but there's always a question mark at the running back position. Can anyone truly replace the production of a healthy Pollard? And how will the new additions, like Williams, fit into the puzzle? Fans are eager to see who steps up, who impresses in training camp, and who might surprise everyone with a breakout performance. And speaking of surprises, remember how the Cowboys have historically been good at finding hidden gems, whether in the draft or as undrafted free agents. This offseason is no different. The coaching staff, led by Mike McCarthy, has a reputation for developing players and making strategic roster decisions that often catch fans and analysts off guard. So, even if Williams is currently on the bubble, don't count him out just yet. The NFL is full of stories where players faced uncertain futures and then made a massive impact. It's all about opportunity, timing, and performance. Before we wrap up, I want to emphasize how crucial this offseason is for Dallas. Every move they make, from roster cuts to signings and draft picks, is geared towards making a real push for a deep playoff run. The NFC is competitive, with teams like San Francisco, Philadelphia, and Detroit all gunning for the top spot, but the Cowboys have the talent, the coaching, and the passion to be right there in the mix. The question is, will they have the roster depth and the right players to push through the toughest challenges? That's what we'll be watching closely in the coming weeks. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on Javonte Williams? Do you think he has what it takes to make the team, or do you agree that he might be fighting an uphill battle? Are you optimistic about the depth at running back, or do you think the team needs to address that position even more? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cowboys community. I'll be back soon with more updates, analysis, and inside info, so make sure to stay tuned for all the latest Dallas Cowboys news. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Cowboys!